Hello and welcome to Morning Meeting. I'm Courtney Hirsch, the CEO of Jomboy Media. I'm here with Matty and we are going to talk about behind the scenes building Jomboy Media. I don't have the agenda in front of me, so Matty's going to run through. How was my intro? That was my first intro.
That was a good intro.
Oh, God.
And yes, like you said, I can run through our agenda for us. Some exciting stuff and a lot of the business world of Jomboy Media that we can talk through. So podcast movement, you were there, you were on stage there. So we'll talk about that. There's a few big podcast deals happening in the world, and we want to talk through the impact of those on Jomboy Media. We have a couple quick, fun, more personal questions for you. And then two fun ones at the end. You're hosting a big dinner with a lot of important people. And then our entire team is hosting an Upfront, which is like a sales pitch at a large scale, right?
Yeah, we thought we were through the busy part, and now I'm like, it's a sprint to Thanksgiving break. Like, that's where my mind's at right now.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday in our Blitzball Battle 5 meeting where Sam said next week is the last of these preparation meetings, and then it's here. And I was like, oh, that means the Upfront's here. Like,
yeah, that means we're less than 2 weeks away from the Upfront and BB5.
We'll wrap out with some questions asked to Courtney. So if you have any questions, Jimmy will be in here next week, or if you leave them for Courtney, the next time she is here, we will ask her those. So leave questions, Jimmy, Courtney. I'll answer any of your questions, but while you're down there, press subscribe, press like, and let's start with the big headlines.
Yep.
And talk about the podcast deals that have gotten done. So the Kelce brothers, their podcast, New Heights, got a deal from Amazon Wondery that was worth over $100 million. Mm-hmm. And then Call Her Daddy signed with Sirius XM. That was like $125 million, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So can you speak to those deals, both in the entire podcast landscape, what that means, but also how it impacts Jomboy Media?
Yeah, it's really interesting because we've seen Spotify did these huge deals. So they signed like Joe Rogan and then Call Her Daddy for $60 million. That was a couple years ago. And then last year, we really saw the industry pulling back and tightening up budgets, not making these huge upfront commitments. Spotify had like a couple of round of layoffs. So it was really surprising to see these two big headlines last week that Alex Cooper signed a 3-year deal with Sirius XM, and then we saw the Kelce brothers. And I think one of the reasons that the industry is so taken back by this is because they were like, wait, we already saw this happen, and then it proved not to work because companies couldn't sustain the deal, didn't make sense economically. Why are companies doing this again? Didn't we learn from this?
Yeah.
And then from the creator's perspective, I think what we've thought is podcasting is really saturated now because everyone can make a podcast and it's competitive. And then if they're not getting these deals, what's the value of it? So I think it made everyone stop and think. And what it means to me is that there is still a lot of value on the big talent, big brands, big IP, and that these large networks, they know that they have to evolve and change because media is evolving so much. So they're willing to make really big bets on proven talent.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that them signing these deals, like Amazon's thought process is, hey, we can get the Kelce brothers in and we're going to pay a high upfront cost for them, but then that can also attract new talent to join our platform? I
think it's an audience acquisition play for them. Mm-hmm. So like SiriusXM, I think their audience is older males. So they're like, let's sign with Alex Cooper and her Unwell network, and we're going to pay $125 million. And maybe we're going to make half of that back through advertising.
Right.
But then we're going to gain so many young female audience that then we can monetize across our subscription service or other products or shows that they have. So I don't think there's any way that these companies are making their money back in this single show, but right. I think it's an audience acquisition strategy.
And I think that one of the reasons that this failed last time was all of the exclusiveness of it, right? So Spotify signs Joe Rogan and you can only watch the full podcast on Spotify. And I believe that that's where like audience had a hard time converting. Like not all of that audience was going over. I believe these deals are so that you could still put episodes on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah, they have exclusive sales and distribution rights. But what I've been reading is that most of these companies will distribute the podcast or show across all apps and maybe even YouTube. And I think this understanding is a big win for creators, like the long tail, smaller creators getting started. Even our company is something that we've seen too. You want to be platform agnostic and meet people where they're already listening, not try to like convert and migrate communities. So seeing the big players in the space follow this model, I think is beneficial for the whole industry.
And you touched on it. Do you see anything that has a direct impact, whether it's twofold, right now at Jomboy Media or in the future at Jomboy Media, how these deals are impacting the way we think about things or the way that we're doing things?
I think it reconfirms the strategy that we leaned into a couple months ago, which is let's focus on our biggest IP and brands and nurture those and put all of our energy towards those. And then I think that although, you know, there's a focus for us on shorts and to gain new audience, I think the real value is in creators that can hold long attention spans and build deep communities through long form content.
Yes.
And that is, still proves to be like king.
Absolutely. Speaking of people that are able to hold an audience, you were on stage at the podcast movement. Can you just walk us through, for all of the listeners that don't know what podcast movement is, first, what is podcast movement and what was your responsibilities while you were there?
Podcast Movement is the biggest podcast conference in the country, maybe even in the world. They had it in DC this year. It's 4 days. So all individual podcasters go, industry people like myself, like leading and running podcast companies, podcast buyers go, some brand marketers go. It is 4 days, like Monday through Thursday. It is huge. It's more like a convention center. There's a main stage for panels, but then there's like a floor where SiriusXM had a booth and Wondery would have a booth, Spotify, and you can kind of like go around and check out all the activations. And then there's stages within this big hall. So I was really lucky. I submitted to be on stage for a panel idea about building creator-led businesses and how we do that alongside our partners at DraftKings. And then DraftKings executes their media buy through this agency called Veritone One, and they've been awesome partners. So it was cool for the three of us to be on stage together, our DraftKings client Max, Courtney from Veritone, and then me, other Courtney.
Right.
And we talked about how we've scaled together as companies. And it was crazy because I went back to our very first thing they bought from us. And it was, they bought, I think, one breakdown, and then they bought Talking Yanks reads. And now they're across everything. 44 shows, like 20 brands, 20 creators doing their reads. And it's like, how do you go from this to like this?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Nice. What were your takeaways from being there outside of, being able to talk on stage? What do you have, like, any key learnings after having walked around it all?
I spent my time mostly meeting with other executives and kind of having those meetings. I think that their podcasting is still so new and people are still trying to figure it out, but it's not slowing down. Like, I think it's going to be like a big business moving forward.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And, we've talked about DraftKings and being there with them. Yeah. I think I would be remiss if I didn't let you know about DraftKings and thank them for sponsoring this video. Whether you're cheering on your alma mater or just love the thrill of college football, you're going to want to listen to this, because right now, all new customers who bet just $5 on anything will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's something that we can all celebrate together. And that's right. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. So stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings. DraftKings is the place to bet touchdowns. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use code meeting and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That is promo code meeting only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Before we hop in, I'm going to navigate off the agenda just slightly because you saying the word convention reminded me that I don't believe that we've sat down since Fanatics Fest.
Yeah.
And we got Jimmy's takeaways. Yeah. I just wanted to hear about your experience and your takeaways having been at Fanatics Fest for 3 days last month.
Overall, I was just really blown away with what our team was able to do and pull off in like 6 weeks' time. I thought we learned a ton, but being able to interact with our community and seeing the kids was just the highlight. I just actually we did a Fanatics Fest survey, and I got all the input from team members that worked, and that was every single person's highlight was just like seeing the kids' faces when they see our creators are moments that make all that hard work so worth it. So just seeing our impact is really nice. I think being part of a bigger event and getting to deepen the connection with our community, but then also getting exposed to new sports audience was really beneficial for us. So, and then, I think we were surprised about like how much merch we sold and that we were the only company of our kind that had a booth like that. That felt really special. So I think it was hard work. We knew it was going to be hard work, but it was kind of more work than we even thought.
I think so too.
So we need to like figure out how to get better at that part of it.
Yeah.
But happy with all of the like business and like community results that we saw.
For sure. Yeah, I think that we're going to be seeing the impacts of Fanatics Fest continually down the line. Mm-hmm. I know that a lot of people would come up to our booth and, talk to us about business propositions and everything. And, Jimmy and Jake aren't the right people for that.
Yeah, so they just point them my way.
Right. I think I handed my email out to, 10 different people. So I'm still getting those emails and trying, if it's a sales thing, here's the sales team, this and that.
Yeah, that was so cool though.
Back to the agenda, a few fun personal bits for you. I had this bullet on here, and we didn't get to do an episode with Jimmy last week, but I knew that he had an opinion. He took James on free train week and just went like down and back and then actually went to work, right? Did you have any free train week experiences? Because what I had saw on social media was different than Jimmy's positive experience. It was like nightmares of commutes. And
that's what I heard. No, I thought it was a normal week. But I bought my monthly pass already, so I did not benefit from free train week. Right. So I was jealous. That was the only thing. That was my only experience.
That's funny. And then your daughter, it was her first day of school today. Yeah.
Paris is too.
Yes.
She was stoked. Her brothers were taking her school pictures for her on the front, and she was modeling.
Yeah. Striking poses.
Yeah. But I think overall, like the start to the school year, post Labor Day, I think feels like the second start to the year. I said this to the company. It's like a time to like reset and refresh. For parents, working parents especially, I think it's extremely overwhelming because my husband and I, we have 3 kids in 3 different schools this year. Yeah.
As tough as it can be.
Yes. There are 43 weeks in the school year, and we counted 25 of those weeks have a half day or just no school that day.
Right.
So the amount of juggling like that has to go on every week is a part-time job in itself.
Yeah. Rob, who edits this, I think I saw him say it in Slack, like on those half days, he knows parents at his daughter's school that are just like, it's not worth me sending them. And then I have to go, the logistics of me going and getting them are just that much of a headache that it's not worth it.
You're not going to school. I like that. I'm going to steal that.
Well, that's good. Are your sons going back?
They go back tomorrow is their first day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. And it's at 2 different schools. So are you able to go to both of them?
Yeah, we do like family drop-offs the first day.
Nice.
The first day is a really big deal.
Good. Well, hopefully they have a fantastic school year.
Yes.
All right, let's hit these two last business points, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Yep.
This is something that you added that I wasn't aware of, so I'm excited to hear about it too. So I will give you the floor. You're hosting an industry dinner with CEOs and key operators.
Yes.
Can you fill me in on that?
I'm calling it Small Table, Big Ideas, the Future of Sports Media.
Okay.
And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I was invited to a dinner that I could connect with people that have my role in other up-and-coming sports media companies? And my role, the title can really vary. It's COO, CEO, president, director of operations, whatever it may be. And I was like, that would be cool if that invite came my way. But I was not getting invited to anything like this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
You send it. That's right.
I'm going to send it.
Yep.
So it was kind of nerve-wracking to put this together, put yourself out there, invite all these really important people. But so far I've gotten 100% acceptance rate. So maybe everyone else was like waiting for this dinner to happen too. And we're going to do it the end of September. So in attendance, I have the CEO of All City, the CEO of Front Office Sports, the CEO of Teton Ridge, the president of Doing Things Media, president of Bucket Squad, which is Jesser's YouTube channel. I'm forgetting a few more off the top of my head, but it's a really good crew. Oh, Snapback Sports is coming. And we're just going to get together and kind of discuss like what's the highlights of running companies and what challenges we were facing, and just connect.
That's fun.
Over dinner. Yeah, I'm really
You're
excited.
Make a little group.
Yeah, exactly. It's a secret little club.
It really is. Now the question becomes: are you always going to host, or do you think that you start the group?
Yes.
And now they'll host the next one?
I don't know. So I got a co-host, Zach Miller, thank God, and I think my mom taught me as a little girl, like when you want to have a party, you just have to like find someone and like be like, you're coming, right? Like I'm not going to be alone. Yeah. So Zach was that person for me.
Nice.
So maybe we'll continue to co-host together. I'm hoping that maybe someone else we could like rotate kind of who hosts. We'll see.
Great.
Yeah.
I know that you always say like your social activity is still on that like pattern, right? While you're in a book club and everything.
So
and
this is like a once every 6 months.
Exactly.
That's the system I'm putting in for this.
That's funny. Last point here, we have the Upfront coming up. For our community members that don't know, we're doing a sales upfront the night before BB5 filming begins. Benefit there is all of our BB5 crew and personalities will be in the New York area and can attend this event. Can you just run us through where we currently stand? It's coming up so quick.
I can't believe it. We're 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
We just started sending invites out last week, and we've gotten an overwhelmingly positive response. We were a bit nervous because Labor Day week, you're kind of like, are people just like checked out of the office? So we have 2 more invite pushes coming up, but our like DraftKings will be there. So Tommy John will be there. Optimum Sports, like a big sports agency in New York, they're going to be in attendance. So it's exciting that people are showing interest and really keen to see what programming we have slated for next year.
Absolutely. I think the question that everybody really wants to know is if the claw machine will be in attendance.
The claw machine is going to be in attendance.
Right.
I think one of the most ridiculous things I saw on Slack over the last couple of weeks was after Fanatics Fest when I woke up to Slack and it was a video. Were you in that video? No. It was like people lifting up our claw machine and putting it into our Sprinter van. And I was just like, why do we own a claw machine in a Sprinter van?
Yes.
And how is this my job?
Yes.
How did I get here that this is my Slack?
Seriously. I know that Steve has now used the claw machine as well to pick a fantasy football draft order.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, so, okay. We're getting...
It's used.
Yeah. I think we might have to wheel it
I think so.
down to the Upfront, which is like 20 blocks away. So
unless we like it fits in the back of the van, we now know that. So maybe we just bring the van in, lift it again, take another video. Before we dive into these questions, we have a new presenting sponsor of the morning meeting, which is super exciting. A big thank you and shout out to Superlost Coffee for being the presenting sponsor. They were founded here in New York City by two friends who wanted to make better coffee for both coffee drinkers and coffee farmers. Superlost Coffee subscriptions program is all about giving you the best coffee experience without the hassle. I know that they installed a big cold brew machine in our kitchen, which the office has been going crazy for. Their wide variety of freshly roasted specialty coffee is delivered straight to your door with 30% off of all our coffees plus free shipping. Their self-service platform gives you complete control. If you want to try a new roast, swap it out with one click. Need to pause the delivery frequency? Done. It's all in your hands right from home, and it's all locally brewed in Brooklyn with free nationwide shipping with no minimums. So head over to superlost.com and use code JOMBOY for 30% off your Superlost order. That's SUPERLOST.com, promo code JOMBOY. Big thank you to them. We're excited to have them on board. And the Superlost question of the week is our first question here, and it comes from B. Sabers. He said, "Hi guys, Will here," not the one from the Michael K show. That's funny. "I've been rewatching the Warehouse games on Bally, and I'm curious, has this deal been of any benefit to you when it comes to negotiating with Warehouse sponsors? Or if you haven't engaged with them yet, do you expect it to?"
It's a great question. I think that it provides validation and recognition. So one of the more complicated things when it comes to advertising and how brands buy media is that their teams are very siloed. So we speak to the team that buys digital media or social media, and then there's another team that buys TV. So it does help in the sense of, hey, look at our brand. It's on Bally Sports. A huge network found value in what we're creating. You're going to get additional awareness and exposure. But I don't think if the question is about like direct monetization, like can we charge more for a specific read? I think, yes, we could charge a premium or marginally more, but it's more about, the brand awareness and recognition and kind of these like intangible value now that we bring to brands.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not overseeing like all the tweets and Instagram stories and stuff where people are at a bar in Detroit watching Warehouse games.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love the tweets when it's like, boomers like now know what Warehouse games is.
Yeah, exactly. We have two more questions before we wrap up this episode. Cheeser said, "Does Jomboy Media have any plans for new ventures next year? Any uncharted territories or things of that nature?"
Yeah, I think you'll see us doing content-wise. I think we're thinking about what our content expansion plan looks like. That's really adjacent to what's working well now and who we are. One of the things we talked about is like more like sports challenger videos and that type of programming. On the business side, I think it's really leaning into commerce. So one of the things I'm excited about is that our merch shop has a store. It will be mostly t-shirts, sweatshirts, and I think there's a big opportunity for more physical products. Maybe that's just hosted on our website. Maybe that's retail stores. But think about all the equipment and sporting goods that we use in Warehouse games to bring that and merchandise that to our community. I think that's exciting. Yeah,
that's super exciting. I've always said that if there was a package of like the 4 different balls that have been used in the Warehouse, they're all yellow. It would look so nice just on the shelf. That's what would excite me the most. Last question here coming in from Josh. He asked, "Where do you envision the state of Jomboy Media being at in 20 years?"
Yeah.
I feel like we would half struggle to answer that if it was 5 years. Well, Josh is asking about 20 years. What would be your dream for the company? If there's a young man or woman wanting to start their career and stay with the company for the long haul, is JM the best fit? So a few questions there.
Okay. 2 very different questions. I'm going to answer the first one. So the best way that I can describe my vision for the company is to compare it to the WWE. And I think that it is kind of sports media entertainment company that's really centered and built around fandom. And when I think about the warehouse games, I see a lot of similarities there. And that's what I want to build. It's all about fandom and community and dedicated, loyal following and nurturing that. And then once you've built that and grown it, like WWE, they did a huge deal with Netflix for Monday Night Raw. They sell international media rights. They merchandise all of their posters, gear, figurines. Then they have a big, huge advertising business. And that's where I want to take Jomboy Media and Warehouse Games is like, that's what I think the vision is.
It sounds like Fanatics Fest was rubbing off on you. For those that don't know.
This has been my vision forever. Yes. But then seeing the families, the lines to meet WWE stars and talking to the families that like they flew, like this is like the 5th place they flew as a family to go experience them and meet them. I was like, that is dedication.
Yeah. Our booth was right near the autograph area at Fanatics Fest. So we often had like massive lines of people forming in front of our booth and near our booth waiting in line for these autographs for hours.
Yeah.
And the first day it was a lot of NBA, MLB players. I feel like Saturday, Sunday transitioned to WWE.
Yeah.
And holy cow, those lines were different.
It was intense. The energy was crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy. Well, thank you.
Oh, wait. I want to answer the second one.
Okay, you answer the second one.
The second one was, is this a good career choice? Is that is this a good
for somebody that's wanting to start their career and stay with the company for the long haul?
Yeah. I think that depends on what you're looking for. I think Jomboy Media offers great learning opportunity, very high growth, a lot of autonomy and responsibility for each role. If you're looking for a place that you really want to stay within a 9-to-5 work schedule and you don't want to move fast and you don't like high stress, I don't think this is the best place for your career. But if you're like, I want to dive in, work with a team, roll up my sleeves, figure this stuff out, and always kind of achieve the next milestone together, I think the people that thrive in that, like this is the best, one of the best places you could be.
Yeah, we've referenced Fanatics Fest a number of times, but that I think is like the most recent true example of none of us really had that experience before. But as a team, we were able to do it all internally and like staff our own booth and, you know, work in roles that we never had before. Whereas a lot of companies might just outsource that to a convention booth, whatever.
Yeah, like an events company.
Sure.
Right. And we're like, well, we got this. We'll figure it out.
Exactly. So yeah, it's all about like doing it. And although you might be uncomfortable at times with new experiences that might not necessarily fall under the average resume for your role, I think that that's like the best part is like being able to experience and grow within those new
it gives us such
times.
Confidence as a team when we do something that we all have never done together, and then it's like success.
Oh yeah, for sure. Great.
Cool.
Well, thank you very, very much, Courtney, for being on. Please remember to leave questions, leave your utmost praise for Courtney, subscribe, like,
Yeah, I love the business questions. I like scanning. I'm like, it's a question for me. I love it. So leave them.
Great. Thank you very much, Courtney.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.